guys, how's it going? We're gonna cook in the Anova precision cooker today. We're gonna do a chuck roast, and we're gonna cook it at 136 degrees for 48 hours. So this is gonna take 2 days. We're gonna see what this turns out like. We're gonna loosely follow a recipe from a friend of mine, Jason D, and see how it comes out. His pictures on Facebook look really good. I'm really excited for this. I have done scrambled eggs, and I have also done venison backstrap, and both turned out just excellent. I like my food. I'm a big guy. I like to eat. You know, can't deny it. But what really sold me on it is this is what we cook in. This is it. This is my dirty dishes. So it's hard to beat that. I do some backpacking, especially a few years ago. I actually did a lot of backpacking, and I ate out of Ziplocs all the time. I dehydrated my own stuff. Anytime I had to cook or mix anything, this is what you use. You eat everything in it because you're starving, and you throw it in the trash bag in your pack. And when you're done, you just take that trash bag out and you toss it. So this is really interesting. This is going to be like gourmet backpacking food. And then what we'll do is we'll either torch it, grill it, or probably cast iron pan. I'm not a huge fan, or I'm not going to do the herb crust the way Jason did it. I'm actually going to use Montreal steak seasoning, and then I'm just going to sear probably all the edges. Probably for, I don't know, 3 minutes on each side. Love my cast iron skillet. If you don't have one, you need to get one. They're amazing, especially if you have a gas stove. All right, so the first thing we're gonna need is water. That's you know, that's how we're gonna cook. That's what's gonna get hot. So let's get some water going. So one thing to notice, there is a max line and a min line. I want to kind of be up towards the max line for this cook, just because it is going to go overnight. I might have to add some more water to it in the morning, just because I don't have the lid on it, or we might wrap the lid, or I'm sorry, wrap the top, like some people, you know, have talked about losing the steam and everything. But I still want to make sure that our water level stays good, especially since we are, you know, cooking somewhat of a large piece of meat. All right, so it's just got a clamp on the side. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on there. And then these are just Rubbermaid containers. This is a 12 quart. Got it off Amazon. I believe it was like $12. And it's probably the cheapest pot that I've ever bought for cooking. And you will need a some type of clip to hold the bag. All right, so then that we've hit the buttons, we use the dial to control the temperature. We hit play to start it, and we left enough in the top so that when we put the steak in, hopefully we won't get overflow from the displacement. All right, so what we're gonna do is season it. Now, what a lot of people have told me is don't salt your meat before you cook it. Because you're slow cooking it in this method, it changes the texture of the meat. So what you do is after you cook it, that's when you salt it, and that's when we're gonna season it. Salt, pepper, we'll probably use some Montreal steak seasoning. Huge fan of that. So we have our plastic bag. All right, so we got our hands nice and clean. It's okay if they're still wet. It's not gonna hurt none. And we're just going to get some rosemary in there. Alright. And it looks like I'm getting more on the counter than I am in the bag, so. Alright, we're just going to go with the bigger one. He was talking about a couple sprigs. I'm not that fancy. I buy the, cheap seasonings from Kroger or anywhere I'm at and just call it a day. One of these days, I might actually add a rosemary plant to the garden, but for right now, I'm not going to do it. Now, to properly get all the air out of this water, we're going to use the water method. Alright, so due to the water method, what we're going to do is we're going to drop whatever we're cooking in the bag in the water. And what it's doing is it's actually pushing all the air out of the bag. Man, this water's still cold. Oh. Alright. So, and we want it to where the seal is right at the water line to make sure we get as much of the air out as possible without letting any water in. And this is a gallon freezer bag. But as we can see, we have got the majority of the air out of this bag. So we're just going to sit this off in the sink and let it chill out till this comes to temperature. We'll clean up our mess. And right now we're at 58 degrees, so our temperature started out at 43. It's already at 58.2, 58.3. It heats up really quick, so we'll definitely come back when it's up to temperature, and hopefully I can capture the alert when it's up to temperature. Now, this model does have Wi-Fi and it also has Bluetooth, so I'll be able to connect to it with my phone or tablet and be able to monitor the temperature. I can also turn this on or off from my device, and because it's on Wi-Fi, once it's connected to Wi-Fi, I still haven't done that yet, but once it is, I could be at the grocery store, have this set up, turn it on. By the time I get home, it's preheated, and whatever I picked up at the grocery store, I can throw in there, whether it's eggs or some kind of vegetables or whatever I'm fixing. But I can go ahead and get that preheat time out of the way. So this is really neat. People, in tiny homes, this would be really cool because it saves space. I mean, once this is done, this is storage for something else. You're just heating up water, and I'd almost say you could actually, if the bag doesn't leak and it doesn't look nasty, go ahead and use it to wash your dishes or some other kind of task where you're actually not going to directly consume. hit our temperature. We're good to go. I got an extra, yeah. So I picked up an extra clip. And we're going to drop our food in. All right. And we'll clip each side of the bag. And there we go. We are now cooking. So you can see the temperature starting to go down a little bit. I was kind of thinking about that if we put in the meat at room temperature, how much would the temperature drop? And what we're seeing right now is the water temp actually dropped 0.3 right now. So it's not too drastic, because I was actually thinking about increasing the temperature for the food drop and then lowering it after I drop the food. So I do have it connected. It's telling me right now that my set temp is 136 and that my current temperature is 135.6. So it's still going down just a little bit. As you can tell, it's not very loud. We're going to set the time. We're going to set the hours. We're going halfway either way. Just about. So we're almost there. So hit OK. And we set the timer on it. Cool. So I got a set time up here in the top right. What's really cool too is the app. It's free. Actually comes with a lot of recipes. So we have anything from beef, eggs, fish and seafood, pork, poultry, steak, corn. Even has a rack of lamb on here, which I think we could use that for venison too. I think that'd be really good. So cool. That's done. That's finished. It's cooking 2 days. Follow me on the journey and